You know what I mean? All right, and we are live. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. Welcome to the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, episode number 309 with Alex Huisman. Uh, if you are, if you're over on the YouTube watching this, if you would be so kind as to put something into the comments, let me know for sure that we are live on the YouTube. I'll give it a couple of seconds here and see who on Facebook logs in. But when you do log in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the dialogue. If you're catching the simulcast, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the Jeet Kune Do dialogue. I think I am getting a little bit of a repeat in my headset, Alex. Is that on your end?
I'll put it down.
Yeah.
How's
You
this?
don't have you don't have headphones that you could use?
Not with a microphone.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys with your big tech and what have you, you know. All right. So welcome back to the program, my friend.
Thanks.
For
Glad to
those
be
of
here.
you who don't know, Alex and I are fast Facebook friends, right? We've never met in person and actually, I'm going to use you today to bring me up to speed somewhat with the European Jeet Kune Do movement because here's how we'll start.
Okay.
I'll call the name, and you give me you tell me where they're located, and a short. Okay.
Mm, how about no? Last time we did this also, right? You started me off with a question I didn't prepare for. Now you're gonna
Oh,
give me a pop quiz.
yeah. So if I
No,
ask you
man.
where, so if I mention the name Jerry Winterfell, you don't know who Jerry Winterfell is?
Nope.
Ricard Ankerson.
Nope.
Um, let's see. Who else is there? Okay, I'll give you names that I'm pretty sure you do know. Okay, let's do it this way.
Why are you pop quizzing me, man? You're doing this
No, no,
every
no, no,
time.
no.
I
No,
don't want to see you doing this too.
let's do it this way,
Okay.
right? Um, hang on one second. Okay, so apparently the YouTube is not working. God damn it. All right, hang on one second. Let me see if I can rectify that. Give me one sec.
Just getting started, and you already broke the internet.
Yeah, man. That's how we roll, That's how we roll. What the hell is that? These settings are completely wrong. Everything looked fine when I set it up yesterday, but for some reason now it's not going to the YouTube. Oh, this is ridiculous. All right, let me see if I can add that in. Nope, I cannot. Oh, well. Okay, I'll just have to put it up later. All right, so
Okay.
for the sake of those who are not familiar with you, give everybody your short history and background in Jeet Kune Do. Let's do that.
Okay. I've been teaching for almost 6 years now. I started about, I guess, 10 years ago under Michael Lamette, concept style side. He quit due to health. Then I went to James and George, that one lineage. And yeah, like I said, 6 years ago, started teaching. And that's
So,
about it.
and all of this is in Holland.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how did Jeet Kune Do get to your part of the world?
Um, Well, on the Tai side, James and George brought it over here, so to say. They're second gen under Ted. And on the concept side, I think it was Frans Struven. It was Michael's teacher.
What's
He's
that name again? Michael's
Frans
teacher?
Struven.
Okay.
He's a big name in Kali and Eskrima and some other styles.
Okay. And James and George are the Terbeek brothers, right?
No. One is, James is called Terbeek.
Okay.
They're not brothers, right? George's name is Girac. But apparently together they're the Bird brothers. I didn't know that until recently. Nobody here that I know of.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. Because, so you and Bob Landers had a huge back and forth.
I know it's huge. Okay.
Yeah, it was huge. Right. In preparation for this, I guess we could call it. So James and George are in Holland as well.
You interviewed James in one of your very early episodes.
Yeah, I was telling Bill Seng that when I first interviewed you two, it was in one of the early ones. He goes, "Well, not that early, right?"
Like
yeah.
number 48 or something like that.
Yeah, right. Now, but so you were on by yourself, and then weren't you on in a panel setting one time as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is my third appearance.
So this is your third. Oh, so you're a veteran, man.
I don't know. Richard is also at 3 or 4 or something. So.
You're a veteran. Okay. All right. So you've been teaching for 6 years. And
in December it will be 6 years. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the discussions that you and I have, many discussions that you and I have had, has always been about let's call it the money aspect of Jeet Kune Do involvement, right?
Yeah.
Have you solved to your heart's content the issue of money and Jeet Kune Do?
You just have, well, when I started, Michael told me, don't expect to make any money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I haven't. I just accept it's going to cost money.
Huh. Interesting.
Or you got to give back, right?
Yeah, it'll cost money to teach Jeet Kune Do, but you won't make any money teaching Jeet Kune Do.
Oh, you could, of course. Of course. I'm not saying you shouldn't.
Yeah, but in your particular situation, is that how you operate? It costs you and you don't make any money?
Yeah, I don't care.
What about the concept of breaking even?
Well, it would be nice. There's always, you can always invest in better equipment or better location, more promotion or whatever, seminars to take your students on. There's always, you can keep on pouring, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like to take my students on on a couple of seminars a year, preferably.
Yeah.
Right. And I also like to have a nice air condition in the summer, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So, yeah.
Where have you guys traveled to for seminars?
Just close by. Dutch people don't like to travel very far usually. So it's just whatever was close or interesting in Holland. Could be Kali, could be, well, many different things. We also went to research seminars, at least 2 of them.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Love to come to one of Richard's seminars and see him in action. I think that would be quite edifying.
Well, I guess you're always welcome.
Well, of course I am. Right. Of course
I'm not anymore. Richard doesn't like my tea.
Oh, well, you're gonna have to fix that situation, my friend. Don't you think?
Maybe he likes blended coffee.
Yeah. So okay, so would you be able, Alex, to characterize the Jeet Kune Do situation in Europe, or is that something outside of your area of expertise?
I'm I'm in Holland, right?
Hmm.
I don't do the whole of Europe. It's not. That's not me.
Right. So I'm in Florida, but I have a fairly good idea of what goes on in other states, and but I'm not as familiar with what goes on. You know, like I know who's who in certain states and what have you. Not intentionally. I just happen to know things. So you would say then that your particular concern is just your teaching and your students learning, right?
Yeah, it should be about the quality of Jeet Kune Do.
Hmm. Okay. So in Jeet Kune Do, there is this contention of continuous improvement and continuous learning and what have you.
Yeah.
So how do you approach that? What's your approach for that continuous learning and continuous evolution and development?
My personal approach, or what I tell my
Well,
students.
again, yours, which I am sure will have an effect on your teaching of your students, right? So the instructor's development, won't it necessarily affect the students' development as well?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
They say a good teacher should warn for his own influence, but in JKD, yeah, it's next to impossible, right? You're always going to be influenced by whoever taught you.
Yeah. Well, so how many people taught by Bruce Lee were influenced by him?
Or you tell me.
Right? You know, I think sometimes we got to be careful about these Bruce Lee quotes because not all of them make sense all the time to me.
Hmm. It's true. We're going to have to disregard some of Bruce's teachings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I see why you're not welcome in some circles.
Oh, I'm gonna make it much worse, man. I'm gonna be so blasphemous. No, yeah, I'll make it even worse. We're gonna have to distance ourselves to a certain extent from Bruce.
How so?
Um, hmm, well, what he represents has changed. If you follow my lead, um,
Yeah.
he has become much more a representation of a martial artist or a kung fu guy, and it's too long ago in the past. It doesn't really represent JKD to the outside world, right? There's the connection. Let me put it like this:
Yeah.
KFC or McDonald's. Everybody knows Colonel Sanders, right?
Hmm.
They're not using him anymore to sell the chicken, right? He's too old. He's too obsolete. Same for McDonald's. They don't use the clown anymore because there ain't no circuses going around. It's too old, too obsolete, right? Sell the burgers, sell the chicken.
Yeah.
And that's the same as we need to do. We need to sell JKD, but we use Bruce still in the marketing, right?
Yeah. Well, so I'm not 100% sure that the Colonel Sanders image or the Ronald McDonald images are no longer used in marketing and promotion
Mhm.
of
But much less
Kentucky Fried
than they used to, right? Because they're becoming less relevant.
Yeah. Well, now, if anything, right? If anything, I would say that the name Kentucky Fried Chicken is obsolete. Nobody uses that name anymore, and I'm fairly sure it doesn't appear.
Mm.
Right? It's all KFC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not the same thing as
No, but
saying
okay, then Laurel and Hardy. right? They had a
Uh-huh.
huge impact on movies, but how relevant are they today, right? How much is he talked about?
Yeah.
I
So
remember.
it's all right. Yeah. So it's the people who are into the history of things.
So what about those people?
Well, the people who are into the history of things will want to know about the origins. They'll want to know every detail
Yes,
that
of
brings us
course.
up to where we are today, right?
Well, the link doesn't fully disappear, of course, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be there.
Yeah.
It's just it's about franchising. It's about how Jeet Kune Do is perceived by the outside community looking in. We're a splintered bunch, right?
Right.
Yeah, we have a bad image. Um, I think most of it is to do with too much individualism. Jeet Kune Do is about the individual,
Yeah.
but if you want to have society, you got to have some sort of cooperation, right?
Yeah.
You can just tell about how we do things. Krav Maga, for example, it was invented later than Jeet Kune Do. Everybody knows Krav Maga. Almost nobody knows Krav Maga instructors. Jeet Kune Do, many well-known Jeet Kune Do instructors. Almost nobody knows Jeet Kune Do. We sell it the way such and such is JKD instead of JKD by such and such, right? We always put
Mm.
ourselves first, and that's what needs to change in Jeet Kune Do. A bit less individualism, or you can't function as society and you'll splinter more and more. Because we're only a couple of generations in now, and we already have, I don't know, 5, 10, I don't know how many interpretations of Jeet Kune Do, and that will only grow as time goes by, right?
Okay. I'm with you.
So therefore, you need to rebrand how you look to the outside world and seem more unified. That means putting JKD before ourselves. You're gonna have to make some sacrifices, pay taxes to live in the society. We all use the roads, we all have to pay tax, right? Just like with a person, you have to sacrifice to grow. It's the same with Jeet Kune Do. We haven't sacrificed, so we're not growing. Also, we're focusing on the wrong kind of stuff. We should be looking forward, but everybody's always looking backward in Jeet Kune Do to the late 60s, the 70s, the 80s. But let's be honest, it's been stagnant ever since then for the last 30 years. All there's been is bickering.
Yeah.
There's no
Right.
real progress
Yeah.
forward.
I would agree with you that I would agree with you on the bickering, but the always looking backwards. Um, I'm not so sure that I would characterize it that way. Um, would you explain that to me? What do you mean by people are always looking backwards?
Hmm. Well, that's what most of the bickering is about, right? And
Oh,
when all the last developments happened, nothing's really happened since then, right? We've been stagnant and bickering, and nobody's looking forward. Everybody's only looking backwards to
do
identify
you
what actually is.
do you really think there have been no developments, or is it that there have been developments even on an individual basis, but nobody shares them?
That also, right? That's why I think we need to refocus
Uh
and
huh.
share our findings, right? You know, it's supposed to be the scientific approach,
Yeah.
but it's not, right? We all
No.
say it and sell it,
Yeah.
but it's not, and we know it's not.
Yeah.
So it's anecdotal evidence at best, right? And everybody use it's also a quasi scientific approach, right? It's
Hmm.
not a real scientific um, approach, right? Do your research, use what. Oh, yeah. One second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absorb what is useful, reject what is not, average, your own.
Yeah.
It's kind of scientific, but in a crude way. It's not real scientific. And of course, back in Bruce Day, it would be a lot easier to do science than it is today. You gotta remember, Bruce used to experiment with stuff, right? He tried to be on the edge. He did the experiment with his food and with the electroshocks and all kinds of training and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say then he was trying to follow the science and be on the edge. But none of us have been doing that, right? Nobody's following the latest in this field or in that field and sharing their findings. Even all the fitness and the supplemental stuff, the workouts, that's fitness. It's for aesthetics. They kind of took all that over. And none of us are like, what are the best fitness exercises for martial art? What's the best nutrition or supplements for martial art? Not necessarily for the bodybuilding stuff. You know, we are not in fields. We are supposed to be on the edge of our field.
Again, I don't know that I could say that with authority. I think there are people. I think
We
there
have
are people
some.
I think there are people in Jeet Kune Do who are on the cutting edge of research and what have you. But the bickering is what causes them to not share. I wouldn't be surprised if we were to do an exhaustive investigation. We would find that out. They're like, yeah, man, I've been looking into this and I've been looking into that, but I have no time for you morons on Facebook who are always arguing about 1967 and 1973.
Right. So we as a community should all just stop the nonsense, start sharing all those kind of findings, right? And make a group about that.
Yeah.
Right? So refocus and make it really about the science instead of about bickering. Right? Then also, if you have hard facts, data points, it'll end some of the bickering because you can't argue with a fact, right? So make Jeet Kune Do scientific again.
Right. So what effect will that have on the physical aspects of Jeet Kune Do? Will that make it easier, or will that, let's say people do start sharing, right? And a guy says, well, you know, in my experience, the vertical fist isn't as efficient for me as it's purported to be.
Yeah.
So I go diagonal, and I gotta tell you, I hit with the 2 knuckles instead of the 3 bottom. What do you think happens then?
That's the thing, right? We now have instruments that weren't there in Bruce's day. We have the internet, we can share information, and we have AI. You could now theoretically survey each and every master from each and every style about each and every move. You could have AI analyze every bit of footage, every martial arts book article, what the hell out there, right? And theoretically, given enough data points, you could really personalize the martial art for each individual. It's going to be a bit longer in the future, right?
Yeah.
But it's bound to happen. The armies are going to do it, or the guys in Vegas who want to predict fights are going to start with it, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to happen. We just need to be part of that to put JKD on the forefront again, right? But the tricky thing is, sir.
No, finish your thought. This is a tangent, so finish your thought.
If I still have it.
Okay.
The tricky thing for us is that it could prove large parts of Bruce's teachings right or wrong, right? You could find the ultimate for each individual, and that would be across all of humanity. So it would really be the human or the art of human fighting, right? And tailored to each individual. But for us, like I said, we're gonna have to let go of parts of Bruce or of his teachings, because it could prove that Bruce was like 10, 30, 70, however much percentile in the right. So we might have to sacrifice part of what JKD is. If the core of JKD or the goal of JKD is to reach the ultimate for each individual, to reach that goal, we're going to have to sacrifice parts of JKD and or Bruce.
Yeah.
But
So
I don't think the community likes to hear that, right? We got to sacrifice
right.
ourselves and Bruce and JKD, probably even the name. That's kind of everything, right?
hmm
Yeah.
Well, so
A tough message to swallow, I think. We got to
yeah.
sacrifice JKD to reach its goals. But it's also logical, because if it is a method or research or whatever, there is a logical conclusion. There is an end. There has to be logically.
Well, okay. So before we get there, what would be the starting point for this Jeet Kune Do revolution?
Ah. Well, we're gonna need the whole community to get in. We're gonna need some task groups, and everyone's gonna need to be following my path. You all need to listen to me. No, because you might say, look, all this development and futuristic stuff, that's not gonna pull the conversion, the traditionalists. They're not gonna like that. They're not gonna come with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have to find. See, that's one of the problems. Is personal truth, but there's also such a thing as shared reality. There is common truth that should hold true for everybody. Everybody's been focusing on their truth and trying to convince everybody of theirs, and it won't work unless there is one that everybody can experience. The common truth. Like Michael Marcellus Brown recently said, some truth they can't be told, they have to be experienced. Or if you're a Taoist, the real Tao cannot be named, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to experience it. So, yeah. To do that, you can only get to different interpretations of Jeet Kune Do if you cherry pick, right? So I did some of my own with some Dutch. See, Bruce said the goal of Jeet Kune Do is to unify body and mind, so the mind can express itself through the body fully.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also said the same could be achieved through dancing. He also said the name of Jeet Kune Do could be forgotten. So if everything in Jeet Kune Do is interchangeable, exchangeable for something else, then what really is the core, right? So you could say the goal was to reach the ultimate to each individual, but I say no. He's saying very clearly what the goal is. The goal is to unify mind and body. So if I had to approach that scientifically, I'm reading. It's about the mind-body connection. We need to strengthen that, the neural network, right? To me, Jeet Kune Do is about that, and that's what we should be focusing on. Now, how do we do that, right? We also have the answer. It's in the daily repetitions. You have to realize your body, about 1/3 of your daily energy expenditure is the brain, the neural net that uses the most energy. Anybody likes efficiency and economically, so it tries to cut down on that. It's very hard to grow the net. If you only exercise once a week, your body is like, okay, so once a week I have to do that. Yeah, that's fine, that's cool. We're not going to invest into that. If you do your daily repetitions, you're saying to your body, like, hey, we need this all the time, permanently build this, right? So basically it's out with the copper wire and in with the high-speed optic fiber, right? I think that's what you are supposed to do. You can only do that through the daily repetition. Maybe, it said before, like it takes 7 years to get good in JKD or whatever.
Mhm.
It's because it also takes 7 years to replace every cell in your body. Right? You have to build the hardware yourself, or you can't run the software. It's like gamers want the highest FPS. Well, you gotta have the hardware. You have to build that. You do that through daily repetition. If everybody does that for about 1.5 to 2 years, I notice that's how long it takes my students to notice the difference. They start to feel it, what JKD really does, right? And then it takes a couple more years to really become, well, very proficient or reach the higher levels of JKD. So my proposal is everybody, no matter your camp, right, can do this. But it's going to take at least an hour out of your day for the next 1.5 to 2 years. You need to be willing to do that. If enough people are willing to do that and actually feel like, oh, maybe Alex is right, I'm starting to feel the change, right?
Right.
Then you
Now-
have common truth that everybody could get behind.
Right. Are people allowed to pick their own daily repetitions, or everybody has to do the same thing?
Well, it's going to get boring real fast, right? Boost at 500 for a student, 1,000 for a master of each. So you're going to be doing at least like 3,000 or 6,000 hits a day. First, you get them perfect, right? Because practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. So first get them perfect, and then practice them perfect, right? Do all the numbers, and after that, you can start making your own favorite combinations. I don't care. I do. I did it for about a decade before I even went to Michael. Before I felt like, okay, now I'm physically in good enough shape to proceed. Right? You have to people that are really dedicated to JKD. It's one of the ways JKD, I feel, could die. Is become a style. It's been only taught recreationally once a week, and that's it. Then it just becomes like judo or karate or whatever. It'll still exist, but the real core, what it really is, we're supposed to do, the high levels, that's going to be lost. If you don't have people really dedicated and willing to train as hard as Bruce Lee. Not exactly like Bruce Lee, because some things he did, and we know. Well, we learn better, right? But at least do the daily repetitions and build the neural net. You will start to feel what it's really supposed to do.
Did you answer my question as to what the daily repetition would consist of?
Like I said, 500 or 1,000 of each hit.
What do you mean of each hit?
Well,
Which
punch.
hit?
Sorry, punch. You can also do all your sounds. If you like, you can make combinations, right? That's up to you. I'm going to give you that freedom, but at least do the punches, get those down first, right?
Right. Okay. So then we would have to go to let's call it the Bob Landers formula, right? Which is what, like 3 punches and 3 kicks or something? I forget.
You have to ask Bob. How would I know?
Oh, come on. Bob's never shared that with you?
No. No. I've been talking to Bob for about, I don't know, good 2 weeks. That's it.
Okay. So, all right. So in your repertoire or your curriculum, what are the specific hits that you're talking about?
Just the standard boxing punches. So the hook, the lift shot, the uppercut, the straight.
Okay. So somebody's going to go, well, what about elbows and knees?
It's not the point. The point is it doesn't really matter which one you pick, right? Okay. It's about building that faster, better efficient network. and that is just through repetition. Because let's say those punches, they come in angles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you do enough of those, the body, everything in between those little angles, it won't matter. You don't need to do every degree or every angle or every move. Your body will fill that in.
What if I came up with an 11 count combination that covered everything?
Fantastic.
So that I make sure that I do 500 reps of that every day.
Yeah. Well, preferably Houten, right? You're an instructor.
Mm.
I mean,
I,
I'm not going to lie and say
okay.
that I
Okay.
do those numbers every day, right?
Okay. You ready for this?
All right.
But then I won't have time for my collie.
But like I said, we all need to make sacrifices. And nobody likes to sacrifice. That's the problem. Look, when the thought of all this, I was like, nobody's going to do this shit, right? Nobody's going to listen to me or follow or whatever.
Your students
Because
do,
it's work.
don't they?
Sorry?
Your students do. Your students do.
Yeah, they do.
Don't they?
Well,
Yeah.
I ask them frequently, and of course, some days they don't. But, I'm very forgiving. Unless it's been very long, then their entire lesson is just go in the corner and do your punches. And now I lost my chain of thought.
Look, the idea, right, of a commitment to daily training is a thing that all of us should have inherited from Bruce Lee decades ago.
We all lazy. That's why I believe nobody's gonna do it. But here comes the big but. What I'm hoping for is that everybody is just sick enough of 30 years of stagnation. If you really want change and all big and everything to end, then it's gonna take 2 years of work, 1 hour a day. It's just how much do you want to stay things like they are, or how much are you willing to do to really change things? But most of us just want to stay in our own corner with our own little idea of JKD, and that's it. We're not gonna do an hour or more a day just because Alex says so.
Okay.
Unless you're really really motivated to change, and we need as many people as we can in the community to make those changes.
Okay, so plank number 1 of Alex Huisman's formula for a revolution in Jeet Kune Do, plank number 1 is a commitment to the daily repetitions.
Yeah, it's very simple. It's been staring us in the face.
Okay.
It's just nobody's been doing it.
Okay. Plank number 2.
No, you're missing things before that, right? Like I said, we need to rebrand, right?
Yeah.
Well, how many of us are going to change the name? I changed my name. It's no longer Iron Monkey Jeet Kune Do. It's Jeet Kune Do Houten, right? You also changed to Jeet Kune Do Miami, right? So
I like to put the Miami in front. I like to put the Miami in front.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go again. Why? Why would you put yourself in front? Why do we have to put first?
Well, here's the thing. In all honesty, I have never thought in terms of ever talking about Dwight Woods Jeet Kune Do. Never.
But still, you need unified JKD, right? We always have to give our little term to it.
No. Unified is the name of my school, right? So we could say that Unified Martial Art Academy is the headquarters for Miami Jeet Kune Do.
Okay, but so what would you say you teach if it's not to Dwight D. Woods Jeet Kune Do? Do you teach Dan and Asado Jeet Kune Do?
No.
Because James and George, they teach that one, the Jeet Kune Do. They don't teach James and George Jeet Kune Do.
Well,
You
good
teach
for
them.
them, right? Well, good for them. You see, I have never understood what that was all about. I have never understood it. Right now, when I use the term Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, that is a way of saying Bruce Lee is the guy that set us all on this journey.
Yeah.
Right. That's what the term Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do means to me. It doesn't mean that Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do is a completely different entity from Ted Wong's Jeet Kune Do, which is another entity, which is a completely different entity from Dan Inosanto or Jerry Poteet or whoever. No.
Yeah. But that's
no. There's one Jeet Kune Do.
right. So we have to put that first and not ourselves. There's one Jeet Kune Do, and then there's us, right?
Yeah,
Jeet Kune Do
look,
interpreted by Dwight.
Miami is not me. Miami is just where I am.
Even better, right?
I hear you.
So how many of us
Okay.
are going to change the sign and the marketing and the flags and the flyers, right?
Well, let's see. If we think in terms of the most successful, how does Krav Maga do it? Do you have any idea?
But how they sell themselves?
Yeah, I mean, do they have Krav Maga out front and then everything else behind that? Every place that teaches Krav Maga, is Krav Maga in the name or not? Taekwondo. Every place that teaches Taekwondo, is Taekwondo in the name or not? I mean,
well,
I'm trying. I'm trying to think. The top Taekwondo schools in Miami, Better Families, ATA. I think they do have the name Taekwondo in the names of their schools. At least the two top ones do. Huh. Yeah. Okay. You might be onto something, Alex.
I hope so. But this is all for nothing, right?
Well, no, not at all. Because what if, right? Okay, so do you think that there are enough people out there that will hear this conversation between us and make some kind of change? What's
Well,
your
I don't have
honest
your
belief?
viewer numbers. You know that better than I. How many people see this? I hope a lot of people see it. I hope the word gets out and spreads to the community.
Well, there's about 20 people watching now. By this time next week, there'll be maybe 100 people that have watched it, and then over on the YouTube, once I put it up, maybe another 200.
Okay. Well, it's mostly important we reach all the instructors, right? This is really about it for them, not for the general practitioner. I mean, they can all, of course, do the daily. But yeah, and mostly all the instructors, we need to make changes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what is it that we would be taking to this instructor group?
So we need one group. Well, we need everybody to work their network to get all the on the edge stuff and information, start sharing it. We need people in IT for the AI bit. And we also need, but you could discuss about this, we should also make a Jeet Kune Do family tree of recognized or certified instructors.
Have you been on Facebook recently?
I've seen the commotion about limited lists and stuff and shit. And
Yeah.
one of the
Have you
recent
seen that?
podcasts we talked about the inner Sado influence, and
Uh-huh.
like 10,000 people or whatever, right? If we
Yeah.
could start over there, I don't know how their registration or archive whatsoever works, but if it's still all on paper and in boxes or in cabinets or whatever, we need to bring that into the digital age, right? Somebody has to do some librarian and digging kind of work and make a digital family tree for almost everybody in JKD that we as instructors have access to and can add our own,
Yeah.
right? And then you can have very fast, if you start with those 10,000, you can easily or really quick map all the JKD people in the world.
Alex, how long have you had these ideas? How long have you been thinking about this revolution?
A while. There's been many JKD Jesuses in the past, right? But all their solutions has always been either, oh, kumbaya, let's be friends, or just keep headbutting.
Right.
So
Okay.
the only thought I
So
had a
why?
while ago was, what are going to be real solutions? What is going to need to be
Yeah.
done?
But you're talking about JKD people from around the world getting together, but you don't know anybody outside of Holland.
I do some, but this is also, like I said, it has to be a community effort. Everybody in the community has to help and do their part. Like I said, we need different groups and different people doing different things, right? So one on that, um, I just named the others, right? Yeah. So one on the AI, one on the archives. Everybody needs to network and get on the edge of science and start sharing that. And we need to
Hmm.
start doing the daily. And we need to rebrand to see more unified.
Well, I because I use the word unified in
Well, at least
the
seem unified to the outside world, right? We can still have camps, everybody can still have their own opinion, but I'm
right.
trying to make everybody experience the same thing.
Yeah. I've always differentiated between the words unified and united, right?
Uh,
Because to me, they don't mean the same thing at all.
yeah.
Um,
And
I gotta ask you a question. I gotta ask you a question though about the AI thing because my experience with AI is pretty much this. I guess I must just be on what they call the language models because you talk
yeah,
because yeah.
most,
What are the other things that AI can do?
most AI that's been in the news and popular lately has been generative AI. And the AI we need is predictive.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you noticed lately that a lot of tech companies, the stock has fallen, right? People stopped kind of believing in AI because there were seeing no real results or real profits. It's all
Mhm.
kind of AI, right? We need predictive AI, and that is going to be kept in development no matter what the normal market does, because the military has interest in it. So
Ah.
forget about all that AI, that everybody's thinking about at the moment when we want to say
Mhm.
AI. You know that that's not it for us. We need predictive AI.
But we're not at that stage yet so much.
No, like I said, it's taking off, and we need to position ourselves there if we
Hmm.
want to, make Jeet Kune Do relevant or at the forefront again, or globally recognized, whatever. Make it,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So how many steps in your formula have we discussed?
I think about most now. Unless you have like thinking like, oh, there's a huge issue here that you missed.
No. I because I mean, so we touted this episode as the Jeet Kune Do revolution and the cracking of the Jeet Kune Do code. I don't
Mm,
remember what name you used for it, right? But those were my those were my two headliners, right?
yeah. No, I
Um,
went with something more blasphemous, I think.
Well, no, I mean it. There's been calls for Jeet Kune Do unity
Mhm.
for decades,
Yeah, but
right?
nobody had an answer. Well, it was just a call, right?
Yeah,
Nobody sat down and thought like, this is how this could be done, like this or like this. And that's all I really did. I sat down, tried to look at it from a distance. I thought, how are we going to solve these things? Anybody of us could have done that, in
yeah.
view honesty.
Okay, so I'm trying to envision what it would take for so many people to get on the same page.
Well, like
You
I
know,
said, that's going to be the hard part.
yeah.
My hope is just they have to be tired of the stagnation and bickering and arguing.
But now, here's the thing. Now, wouldn't we first have to determine that that there that there is stagnation,
Hmm.
right? And
Well,
that the idea that there is stagnation is just that. It's the idea. That's an idea that a couple of people have.
you done?
Would wouldn't we have to get the numbers on that?
Well, if I'm going to promote a scientific approach, we're going to need numbers on, well, everything that we can, right?
So we
Get
gotta
a data
we get
point.
we gotta start with a poll or something, huh?
Like I said, you could survey every master of every style worldwide about everything, right? You have to do massive data collection, of course. Yeah, that's with
Yeah,
every AI. You need billions of data points. But like I said, it's going to take a while, and it's going to be in the future. But the technology is now here that wasn't there in Bruce's day, right? We
right.
can now actually achieve the goal.
So okay, so who do you know that could be?
I'm just giving the idea. I'm just starting you all off,
Oh, oh,
right?
okay. Then I say Bill Sang should be in charge of this all.
I could live with that. I don't know if he likes that.
I
I
say
like to free time.
I appoint Bill Sang, Kent Chin,
Mhm.
and let's see, Bill Sang, Kent Chin, Albert Kwan, um, Zane Isaacs.
You want all of them on
And
the AI team or in lead of this all?
they'll. I think that those are guys with the mindset,
Hmm. I
right?
think for the family tree and the archaeology and that kind of stuff,
Oh
James
God,
Bishop
the
or
family,
James Baker is also he's a librarian, so he would be really good at that kind of stuff. But
the
people like that,
family tree.
we have
Yeah,
some people with specialties that could help, but
yeah.
we need to find more.
Man, that family tree thing. That
That
my
that would be the easiest project out of all of them, right? To start with and to finish.
hmm. I don't know. Not necessarily. I'll tell you something. Um, 18 years ago, right? I embarked on a project to do a birthday book for Sifu and Asano. And it started out as just my I just it was just going to be emails, right? And then so I sent out the questions, and then people replied to me, and then I was just gonna print out the emails and whatever. However, I discovered that there were people who would not participate if my project wasn't authorized. If it was just something that I was doing,
Mm,
then they didn't want to be a part of it.
mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Yeah.
the most popular guy in JKD, so I can imagine a lot of people don't want to be part of it if I lead it. But for me, it's fine if anybody else does it.
I don't
As
know,
long
man.
as
I don't think I don't
no,
think you're that unpopular, really.
no, you think I'm cute?
I don't think you're that unpopular. No, man. Um,
No, but
I
I'm fine
think
with anybody doing it as long as
yeah.
it's getting done, right? It doesn't
Okay.
matter to me.
All
I don't
right.
need credit.
Okay. All right. So I have an idea for you. I just looked at the. I just opened up the comment thing. Do you want to? You want me to go through and see if anybody has any questions for you?
Yeah, sure.
What do you think? We don't have to. I mean, it's
It's your show, man.
it's my show, but you're my guest. So I don't impose anything undesired on my guest. It's
Well,
entirely up to you.
if it's not gonna be like tell me about the history of JKD in North Afghanistan or whatever kind of pop trick question, if it's is it related, yeah, sure, come bring the comments.
Um, well, here's Bill saying,
All right.
right? Here's what Bill says. I don't know. Can you see that? I would agree that JKD shouldn't be marketed through the Bruce Lee iconic image alone, but as a functional, relevant martial art that happened to have been founded by Bruce Lee. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a pretty good. That's a decent sentiment because that does touch on the modernity of it,
Yeah.
right?
Kids these days, they don't even know what a landline is. You want them to remember Bruce Lee was born in 1940. In
Mm-hmm.
16 years, that's a century ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, just sell the JKD. Of course, going to say it's Bruce's JKD, but sell the chicken, sell the burger.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. Here's Bill again. Some of us do scientific approaches, timers, power cubes, etc. It's okay. I see what that is.
Well, I'm glad
Um,
Bill agrees.
yeah. Well, that's why I told you he should be put in charge of the whole thing.
Yeah, ask him. I think he'd rather have a German beer and a Bratwurst. I'm not wrong if he did. I think it's good, you know.
Yeah.
But knowing
Um,
Bill, well, at least a bit, I'd say he'd go like, I don't know, but I mean, he wanted to contribute, yeah, sure. But if it's gonna want to take a lead role, I don't know. We have to ask everybody if you want to contribute. Put your name in the comments and how you would like to contribute, or email me, contact me, Dwight, whatever. Get together if you know people you think would be excellent for certain projects. Start grouping, reach out.
yeah. Um, okay. There are people here wondering if you are. They say you seem to be very analytical, so they want to know what your background is. I guess
I'm just a well-willing amateur with a lot of different kinds of interests.
what informs your Jeet Kune Do attitude, I guess. Like what external discipline informs your JKD attitude?
Um, I don't know. I'm just indeed analytical. I dabble in yeah, well, physics just for fun. I like to think a lot about philosophy. I don't know. It's just me, I guess. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really special. It's just who I am. No real scientific background, but I do like the sciences. Yeah. But like I said,
Okay.
anybody could have thought of this. You don't necessarily need that scientific background. You just need
Yeah.
realization.
See, yeah. I again, right. I think the delicate balancing act in the Jeet Kune Do world is the balance between the importance of the individual
Mm.
and then the role that that individual plays inside the group. I think that in JKD, there's never really been too much of an idea of the group.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like
that's what.
too much individuality. When
Yeah,
you
that's
come down
why.
with
That's why
society
I
like
make
that,
I make the joke all the time that the Jeet Kune Do family is one of the largest unorganized and dysfunctional martial art families in the world.
it's an orphanage. It's not a family. It's an orphanage, and we need to make it a family, right? But
Yeah,
like I said, we all need to make sacrifices for that to happen,
yeah.
because your freedom ends as soon as you touch the stretch on somebody
Well,
else's.
I would say what that a major part of that sacrifice or a major aspect of that sacrifice
Mm.
would be the disillusion of ego.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's a necessary step in progress. Like I said,
yeah,
we've been stagnant in development. JKD was perfect. It grew a bit, but then it stopped developing. And we can only grow as far as we can face truth about ourselves, and all
yeah,
truth is gonna hurt, right?
yeah.
The man is both the sculpture as the marble. So we just haven't sacrificed. We've all been egotistic. So we all need to sacrifice and grow, and so
Mhm.
then Jeet Kune Do can grow.
I listen. I'm not fatalistic at all, right? Um, but I do wonder, Alex, about a project such as this. Has the separation ideal, not separation ideal, has the separatism existed in JKD for so long that there's aught that can be done about it?
Anything can be done if we are willing to change.
Yeah, but
And
that if
if the situation is unchangeable, we are challenged to change ourselves. So this is what
because
we.
because we make the situation.
Well, yeah, the situation has been prolonged for over 30 years, right?
Yeah.
We are unable to fix it, so we need to look inward and fix ourselves.
Well, if we okay, so if we historic we take a historical look at attempts to organize Jeet Kune Do,
So like the nucleus. That's why I
and
yeah.
and before it the JKD Society,
Mm.
and even if we look at other JKD organizations, individual JKD organizations, right?
Mm.
So progressive fighting systems. Um, who else is there? I'm trying to think who else there is. A lot of these things, have not. There's always a central character, right? See, the JKD Society and the nucleus did not have a central character as like the leader of the organization. You
Yeah.
know, so do you think that has an impact?
Well, like I said, I'm only proposing this. I don't believe people are going to do it or that it's going to work. I also see Bill agreeing in the comments, like Huisman unity group will not work, right? It's down to our attitude as a community. We all have to believe, and if we don't, then yeah, of course it's bound to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to do work. Everybody needs to chip in, and like I said, that's why it's not going to work. You're all a bunch of lazy SOBs.
Well, okay, so but all right, but we have identified and we do agree on the importance of the individual in the JKD world, right?
Yes, but it just shouldn't be as big or to the
Right.
extent it is
But
today.
what about this, right? What about if as an individual JKD instructor, with the idea, instead of the idea being ostensibly a worldwide project or whatever.
Mm.
You just make it Jeet Kune Do Houten's project.
Mm.
And you run the experiment and you collect the data points and everything, right? And then you put that out to the world. Here's
Yeah.
what we did in
Mm.
Houten, right? And here's how it worked fantastically for us.
Yeah, but I'm not really that much into IT and all that. You know, tech is not my partake.
Well, but again, you get it started
Mm.
because this is the thing, right? This is the thing. What was it that they used to say? You don't have to get it. You don't have to get it perfect, right? You just have to get it started. So you
Yeah.
get it started, and then as things go along, right? That the momentum that you build in and of itself can start to attract
I hope so.
the
You have to get the ball rolling somewhere, right?
yeah,
We are
yeah,
at 0 hour. This is hour 1, right?
right.
So we have to see what happens in the next couple of days. But already the people you mentioning, like, oh, like that, him and him and him, they're already in the comments, like, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they need some time and think about it, reconsider, but it's going to be
Well,
really hard to get
yeah.
people to go get along and do this.
Well, again, it is. I was going to say it's kind of a revolutionary idea, but it isn't really because the idea of Jeet Kune Do unity has
Mm.
always been
Yeah,
present. You know
yeah,
what I mean? It's
yeah.
always been present, and we could say that people did attempt, but the difference, I would say, in your idea and the idea of the Jeet Kune Do Society or the nucleus, the Jeet Kune Do Society and the nucleus were all about protecting the lineage to Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
So they were somewhat oriented towards an idea of the past,
Yes. And
right?
I'm focusing on the goals
Yeah,
stated
right.
in Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah. Um,
So yeah, like I said, it's more of a roadmap or a solution. I'm not saying it's the only solution or whatever, but as far as I know, it's the only thing presented until now that could have some merit, right?
mhm.
I'm all open for ideas or suggestions how it could be done in a better way, of course, but
Well,
it's
yeah,
just start somewhere.
right. Yeah, my to be honest, my immediate thought is, and this is just based on my observations over 40 years,
Okay.
an individual sets up his thing and then he attracts the like-minded individuals.
Hmm.
He never sets up his thing based on attracting people at the start.
Well, you gotta realize your own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, so you
I'm
do
much
your
more an ID guy than I am in let's get out
oh,
there,
no,
you know.
I can't. No. You can't back out now. You're the
Oh, I
one that
won't,
said,
like I said, like contact me, whatever, right in the comments or on the side or email
right?
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah.
Of course,
No,
I'm gonna say
I
this is it. I'm gonna
listen.
sit back, right?
I hear you. I hear you. Right, and believe me, I'm enthused that there's somebody out there thinking beyond the pedestrian level of, oh well, what's your lineage, who did you train under,
Mm.
you
Yeah,
know,
that's
what's
the
your
future.
what's your certification and that, that type of stuff. Oh well, did you get it right, or are you wrong and this other guy is right?
Yeah,
That has gotten us nowhere,
right. So
you
that's
know.
why I'm saying like we can't because of the personal truth, and so we have to find a common truth that we could all experience. So then it's not about arguing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that theoretically, academically, we can know what the common truth is.
Yes, right. You can't
Right.
deny facts.
Right. Well, I think we can all know. But I'm just trying to think of what the magic code, the magic bullet would be that would make a ton of people want to get together and do a thing like this.
So that's the thing, right? Because the benefit isn't straightforwardly. Um, they have to put in a lot of work, and it won't necessarily amount to anything, right? It won't be to their advantage. Nobody would like to. It's nobody advantage to put their own name back to being in front all the time,
Yeah.
right? Nobody wants to sacrifice. Everybody's kind of happy, comfortable where they are. It's really hard indeed to get people to motivated for that, and that is one of the problems I recognize with my solution. And that's why I'm thinking my only hope is people have to just be fed up enough with the stagnation and the current situation. That would be the only motivator at the moment that I could think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would really be helped if you could come up with another huge one.
How do you read a lot, Alex?
Not at the moment. I used to.
Did you ever read True Believer, Eric Fromm's book?
No.
If you can get a hold of that, right? Eric Fromm's True Believer, and take a look at that. The colloquial byline for the book is, "This is how you start a cult."
Oh, yeah, I might need to
Right,
look into
right.
that.
But yeah, no. We're talking about a movement.
Yeah,
Not a cult, but a movement, right? And I applaud you for having the idea, right? And for the angle from which and the direction from which you're approaching it. Don't be so cast backwards,
yeah.
right? Look forward, because you
You
were
have to
talking
be a
about,
futurist.
yeah, you were talking about Laurel and Hardy, and I guarantee you that the top people in the comedy world, if you sat down and had a conversation with them, they would tell you about the influence. And the top guys would probably be able to give you like the history of Laurel and Hardy and what have you. They'd be at the top in terms of the knowledge of their craft, right? Like the history of their craft and whatever. That's always been my experience with the
Yeah, but
top
I
people.
think that's with anybody who's an expert in their field. If I sit down with you,
Mhm.
we're going to talk about the influence some of the great names had on Jeet Kune Do, right? It's just what you do if you're into your profession really deep.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, of
Well,
course, it's relevant, and if people ask, of course, you're going to talk about it and tell them, but it's just to the general public at large. It's not relevant.
right. Yeah. Listen, my friend,
It's been a blast.
it's a commendable. Like, no, I'm not done with you. It's a commendable idea, right? But I'm just spinning gears in my head about, and 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 I keep going back to, let's say that as a result of hearing this conversation, 5 people decide to start working on the daily repetitions on their own,
Mhm.
right? You know, and they remember that we discussed running their own experiment and then putting it out there.
Well, let's just make a mental note, write it down. Like in 1.5, 2 years, you revisit this, we do another interview, and we hear what the results have been, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, I think you've definitely given people something to think about.
I hope so.
Um, I'd, but it is a futuristic idea.
Yeah. Like I
right?
said,
And
it's going to take time and work,
yeah,
and some of it is
and
near future, some is further future. But
right, yeah,
yeah,
and I can't think of anybody in the time that I've been doing the podcast that has, you know, that I've had a topic like this. It's all usually about who trained with whom and who knows more and who was
well,
closer to
yeah,
Bruce,
I warned you, this
right?
is going to be different.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
yeah,
glad I was able to spark your mind,
yeah,
bring something
yeah.
new.
You know what would be well, no, let me turn this into a question for you. Why isn't there more sharing, right? And I'm as guilty as anybody else. Why isn't there more sharing on these Facebook pages and what have you about what people are doing in their JKD training? Why do you think?
Oh, like I said, it's what we made it. We made it about who is you, right? Show me your stuff. How big a
Yeah.
badass is you?
Is it because it's easier to just sit and type shit?
Yeah, of course. Easier always, easier always wins. No, but
Yeah.
it's also social media, right? It's share your stuff, and then it's mostly video, and of course we're going to show our own stuff, and we're
Yeah.
not going to really delve in and show other people's stuff. And you know,
Yeah.
we
You
we
know,
started. It was too much about self promotion and not about uh, sharing and science and being on the edge.
well, you think if I put something up that people are gonna go, oh look, he's trying to promote himself, as opposed to, oh look, he's sharing. What do you, we
Yeah, but what are we sharing? We're sharing nothing new. We are showing the same drills, the same exercises, the same whatever, right?
really? You think?
I think. Yeah.
You think everybody's doing everything the same way? Nobody's doing.
No, but even look, the differences don't matter, right? We are showing known stuff, right? It's just how you
Uh-huh.
do it. Nobody's
Well,
sharing the
yeah,
new stuff.
yeah, no, 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 no. No, how you do it could be unknown to me,
Mm.
so
Yes, but
there'd be a benefit.
yeah, but like the benefits are too incremental, too small, right? It's
Uh,
like pissing in the ocean. It doesn't do anything. Doesn't really help or change anything, right? It's nice to share, but yeah, you
yeah,
know, what is the
yeah,
true value of that sharing? I think a lot of what is being shared, it doesn't contribute much.
yeah,
We should be focusing on just sharing what we found worked and contributes.
yeah. Well, I tell you one thing. I'm gonna enjoy when we hang up, going back through the comments and seeing all the side conversations that were about what people were doing that had nothing to do with our conversation here.
Well, I'm
But
looking forward to see
you know,
what.
the proverbial hijacking of the damn program.
Hmm,
There's some characters who just cannot avoid that. It's like it's part of their DNA. They just got to do it,
yeah. Oh, sorry.
right? No, 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 no. It's part of the human condition, right? I find it entertaining. I find most of the shit that goes on Facebook entertaining.
That might also be a factor, right? Why things don't change. People just like, oh, drama.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need to
yeah.
change that mentality too. Right.
Well, yeah. Well, again, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Okay. Give me some famous last words, my friend, and
Uh,
let's
Bruce,
head
be
out
with
here.
you. No, I'm very curious to see what will happen in the next couple of days, and I'll see you next interview. I'm going to
Yeah.
bed. It's like 1:30 in the morning here.
Okay. All right. You get going. Thanks for staying
All
up
right.
late and hanging out with me.
It was fun.
All right,
See you
man.
next
I
time.
appreciate it. All right. You take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Well, definitely different, right? That was episode number 309 of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues with Alex Huisman. You guys know where to find him on Facebook. Alex Huisman, Huisman. I really want to know what you guys think of his idea and his proposal. A little bit different, definitely a little bit different. Okay, so let me give you guys the rundown on stuff. Titans of JKD 4, information available at titansofjkd.com. February 1st and 2nd of 2025. But way before that, next weekend, which is why there won't be an episode of, or if there is, it might be a surprise episode of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. Next Friday, next weekend is when G. Anthony and Mrs. Joseph will be here in Miami with us for the first of its kind TCF the System seminar. You can go to my Facebook page and click on the events, and that's where you'll get all the information on that. You can support the show over at jkdrebel.com. Click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you'll see stuff like this. That's where you'll see stuff like that. That's where you'll see stuff like that. Right? You can also support the show on the YouTube. Just click on the join link, and that's where you'll see the different levels of membership available to you as a paid subscriber. And over at paypal.me/unifiedma-miami, paypal.me/unifiedma-miami, you can find the Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1, the raw but edited version, paypal.me/unifiedma-miami. But of course, as usual, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues. All right, so that is it for me for this week. You guys enjoy the rest of your, and have a great weekend. Not the rest of your day, Dwight. Have a great weekend, and we will talk next time. Until the next episode, you guys take care. Talk soon.